Hello, welcome to Co-Creating with Cosmic Holly. Today we are talking about the new moon in Capricorn happening at 28 degrees 43 minutes Capricorn at 2:52 p.m. Eastern on January 18th, 2026. So the vibe kind of is with this new moon in Capricorn. We're moving into like newness. Everything is shifting. All the planets are about to go into, well, the moon is about to go into Aquarius. The sun is going into Aquarius. Venus has just gone into Aquarius. And Mercury and Mars are coming up right behind the moon and will be moving into Aquarius as well this week. So there's a lot of movement energy toward change. So one of the things I wrote down is that this moon brings on a willingness to allow change, to flow with change, and to flow with what needs to be let go. So when I think I got this vision of the energy of this moon. So we are at the end of Capricorn. Um, and that means that there is going to be some letting go that's happening with this moon. And also, there is a sense of really embodying who it is that you are. When I think of Capricorn, I of course think of mountains, and for me, I thought about what it was like when I was a mountain biker. I still mountain bike, but not like I used to. When I first started, right? So if say this is like early when I first started mountain biking, after a few times, and I learned how to roll over rocks and tree stumps and things, and to just follow, single track, like know where I'm going. One of the rules is look at where you want to go, not at where you don't want to go. So if you don't want to hit a tree, don't look at the tree. You want to keep looking at the path. That's the first rule. Then it's to an extent, speed is your friend because it helps you to get over rocks, helps you get over tree stumps, whatever it is that's in your path. For me, I really loved climbing. I was really good at climbing. Um, and then descending. So, and I actually had more fun climbing up the mountain than I did descending. And descending was fun. Let's like don't get me wrong. But the thing is, when I first started, um, there was a point where things were maybe a little more like you get to a point where mentally you understand the concepts, you understand how to maneuver on the side of a mountain with a bicycle. And that's really exciting. And sometimes you could sometimes, okay, I say this is apparently common, but like for me, sometimes I would get ahead of myself and think I could do something that I wasn't ready to do. So then I would go flying off the bicycle because I didn't have the strength. It's like I had all I the idea of how things should go. I had the vision of how things should go, but the thing that would stop me would be that I actually didn't have the physical strength to, maybe push over that boulder, to climb up the boulder. And so then I would, tip over. Most of the time I didn't, most of the time it was okay. Sometimes not so great. So in order to be able to mountain bike safely, you kind of have to begin with some caution, and at the same time, let go of some of the ideas that you think, some of the things that make sense, like, oh, there's a rock there, I better go around it, or and which you can do sometimes, or stop, you know. But you can actually go over it once you like understand where you need to position the weight of your body on the bike, and also once you start getting the strength to, push over it. So what's that to say is that this Capricorn, where we are right now, is, imagine riding your bike. You've gone through all kinds of rock gardens and experienced like all kinds of obstacles and, side paths and, some slippery leaves, just all kinds of different things. But then you made it so that you're like 28 degrees Capricorn is the top of the mountain. This is a moment where it's like you're taking a rest and you're looking around and you're going, wow, this is beautiful. Maybe you're sitting down and maybe you're thinking about what it took to get you up the hill, right? You're maybe a little bit tired. You need to eat something and drink some water. And but the thing is, you're not like, you look back and you're like, wow, look at where I came from, but you're not like going over in your mind every little thing that you did. You just know that you're at the top now. And so it's a moment to take a breath and take in the beauty all around you, take in the sights before going on your way back down, and maybe going on to the next peak that you see like off in the distance. So right now, um, you're there. Right now, you have the skill and the experience embodied in your body to know what it took for you to get that where you are, and to decide you're going to continue moving forward. Um, I wrote down a few notes because I was just like, oh my God, I'm really excited about this new moon. It's been a while actually since I've been excited about the moons. And this one is interesting because it's the last moon before we move from the year of the snake to the year of the horse. And I don't know which element the horse is going to be moving into, but we're moving into a different Chinese New Year, which happens at the Aquarius new moon. And we're also in this place where it's like we are thinking about what it is that we know about ourselves, and sort of realizing that when we are who we are, when we are our authentic selves, not what we think we should be, or that we like aren't really thinking very much at all about who it is we are, but we're feeling it, that our existence is important to the community, to has value in the collective. In fact, Venus is already in Aquarius, kind of giving us some feedback about what it is that is about us that's important in the collective. Like Capricorn can get kind of like, climbing your way to the top can be a little bit lonely, but coming back into the community is, you have something to bring. You have something to bring to the community. Um, so like I said, Venus is already is at 1 degree Aquarius right now. Mars and Mercury are conjunct and they're coming up right behind the sun and the moon. Um, and Mercury, in Capricorn is like a structured approach to thinking, is disciplined, you speak with purpose, um, clear focus, a steady mind. And you actually need that when you're climbing up the mountain, right? You clear focus. You're not looking at what you don't want, you're looking at what you do want. Mars is ambition. There's a composure to Mars in Capricorn that is very stable and keeps moving. The action is with purpose. So, as you're planting your new moon seeds, you then have these two really powerful planets coming up right behind, going, adding a little extra focus. But right now, those seeds that you're, and the goals that you're thinking of, or that are bubbling up for you, are more intuitive. They're more, it's just embodied because you have experienced you've had all of this experience to get to where you are. And the moon is the body. So your body, you feel what's right in your body before your mind comes and before you actually take action. The other thing that's happening is the moon is trining Uranus at 27 degrees Taurus. So there is with there is liberation through new grounding. So there's a new way of grounding. Like, okay, say you're on a bike and you're riding your bike up the mountain and you're going to ride your bike back down. Like I said, you have to position your weight so you don't go tumbling off the bicycle. You're going down the side of a mountain, you have to swing the center of gravity further back so that you don't tip over. That's finding new grounding even while moving. So there's a lot of movement happening right now. And then the moon's also sextiling Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. So, there with Saturn, there's strength in solitude, but it's about to move. It's going to move into Aries in February. And Neptune, um, there's a lot of creative energy there: art, prayer, music, intuition. That's flowing through as well. And um, allowing that to move through your body. Well, it's happening whether you allow it or not, but that may be one of your that may be one of your intentions. I allow my intuition to inform my actions. Uh, what else do I want to say? Basically, the climbing up the mountain has been building strength as we move forward. We're moving into all these planets. Saturn and Neptune on February 20th are moving into Aries. They're not going to move back into Pisces. And it's at 0 degrees Aries. So it's a big new beginning. We won't see Saturn and Pisces for another 30 years. We won't see Neptune and Pisces in our lifetimes. Um, Pluto is in Aquarius and it's not moving back into Capricorn. It is going to be in Aquarius for the next like 16, 17 years, I think. And then Uranus is also done with Taurus. It's going to move into Gemini. So all the planets are moving forward. We are in this forward momentum now. And it is a time to really know who you are and to allow whatever is percolating up through your intuition, through your body. Like, as you set intentions, check in. Let the intentions be, what do I want to say? let the intentions be with purpose. Capricorn always has some kind of purpose. And see how it lands in your body before you send it off into, into the cosmos. Um, if you are going to set intentions today, the moon goes void at 4:57 p.m. Eastern, and then moves into Aquarius at 5:18 Eastern this evening. Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to say. Um, yeah, I just wanted to remind you, let's see. I wrote, you're grounded enough to be willing to let go of who you think you are or who you think you ought to be and just be. That's the thing. So, who you are is you're very embodied right now. Um, yeah. What's the next thing? Your body's going to let you know. Venus is going to let you know. Venus is the moon is going to be talking to Venus and Pluto a little bit later tonight. So, a little bit, few hours after the actual new moon, you're going to be touching on to Venus, and then 3 degrees. Pluto is at 3 degrees Aquarius. So, all of the planets are pretty active right now. And it's forward movement. You have the skill, you have the strength to navigate through the flow of change, to let yourself flow with the change. If you are going down the mountain and you keep trying and you keep stopping, right? If you're on a mountain bike and you keep stopping instead of, navigating with this, letting yourself go, maybe you go a little slower, maybe you're not flying and speeding down the mountain, but you're moving. Every time you try to stop, you like break up the flow. But if you just let yourself go gently, it's it's a beautiful ride. Okay, wow. So I have a couple of cards jumped out, and we have the Six of Swords and the Six of Cups. So the Six of Swords is, you're moving forward from um, troubled waters into calmer waters. Right now, the world is pretty. There's a lot of trouble. There's a lot of troubling situations happening that is spurring us to think differently about things and to have to um, move forward. There's no just sitting here and not doing anything. Like, you can't hang out on top of the mountain, um, because if you do, you might, die of exposure. You're just going for a mountain bike ride, right? You have some food, you have some water, but you don't have like a tent, right? You need to get back down. But here we see this also. Some people, you know, have had to flee in order to find a safer place to be, like literally, right? But in the with the swords, we have this something. It's more like what's come into your consciousness. Something has come into your consciousness that is saying, like, yeah, I can't um stay put. I have to move. And it's not just it, and then it becomes something that you feel with your entire being. And I, whenever there's three beings involved, I always feel uh, like there's some higher power, some higher being that has um, created this experience. Like whenever there's some kind of relationship, a third being is created as well, right? So here we have this person who is rowing the boat, and these two people who are a child and another person who look kind of like huddled in. Choices. This is choices, but the movement is happening. You have to make the move. And then the of the six of cups is nostalgia. The six of cups is friendship. Again, there's this third being. It's like a sentry who he's also carrying a wand like this person, right? Um, Guarding maybe the whole situation. But I kind of see this as looking back to your childhood or your child self and thinking like, what, you know, what was it that you dreamed about when you were a child that you thought you would get to do as an adult, right? Um, and now it's coming to the surface like it's time to do those things. And it's also, community. Um, who can you rely on? This is a time. This is a time to be connected with the community. Um, Something moved in my mind and flew back out regarding the swords and the cups. But here it's like being being a empathetic, kind, and caring human being is really important. So whatever it is that you're like wanting to do, like both of these cards, it requires more than you doing it alone. The six in the major arcana is the lovers, and the third entity is an angel. So there's something about relating and taking action. This is, it's a card that does require you to look at they're both cards that require you to do some sort of movement that moves you toward others. Yeah. Let's see if there's anything else I want to say. The simple thing about our child selves, the simple thing about being a child is that we understand that love and kindness is kind of like something that uh, if we don't if that's not our our go-to, if it's not the way we actually are in the world, it's because it's been taught out of us. So there's something about getting back to um, thinking about like, wow, I am someone's child. That person that I don't even know is someone's child as well, and maybe they have children. Um, Same thing here. There's a child in this card. So it's very future oriented. Children are, yes, you can look at the past, right? Like look at remember when you were a child, but also children are As cheesy as it may sound, children are the future, right? Children are the, are a symbol of the future, um, as well as, I think, uh, wisdom, you know, our wise selves that we get back to, that we have to get back to with our adult knowledge. Okay, I think that's it. That seems very much what I was feeling about this Capricorn moon, is to get, you know, to that like, you are who you are. You are, um, you are a human being, and uh, sometimes you have to stop and take a breath and recognize that, in order to know what the next step is. But the next steps are also like happening, like you get that there is an action that needs to be taken, and this is one with kindness and sharing, and forward movement. You moving forward is the way toward peace. Hope that was helpful. Have a wonderful week, and set those intentions, plant those seeds. The cosmos is very much moving forward. And if you'd like to get a reading with me, go to holly-troy.com/tarot, and you can book a reading with me. You can also book a reading with me in person at Medica Magica in Red Hook, upstate. All right. Peace. Have a good one. So, I also just want to mention, um, every time I finish a recording, more comes to me. So, some people have had to actually flee their homes. This to me represents refugees. It represents, people who came to the United States for asylum, and they're now experiencing danger here. And not only that, but we're all experiencing it. So this just to me really illustrates what's happening. Um, and so there's a shift. That's what I mean by a shift in consciousness, is that like, oh wow, you know, this is we're all moving in some way, whether we're physically moving, or that, like I said, it's more like a shift in consciousness, like, wow, our freedom is not a given, right? And then this, of course, is kindness, um that, there, so many of the myths, the old myths, are when a stranger comes to your door, you invite them in. Hospitality. You feed them, you let them rest, they get a bath, like, and then you say, what's your story, you know so it just feels like it really illustrates where we are. Peace.